Are you a company looking for someone to help them with their content? Why not try out GL Pro? GL Pro are a business based in London that help lots of companies like yours develop content for the web, whether it's film, audio, podcasts, or even website design. Get in contact with them today for a free consultation on www.glpro.co.uk/Sanj Surati Talks. Hi guys, welcome to the next installment of Sanj Surati Talks. I've got an amazing guest for you guys. I want you at home to start clapping your hands, start cheering for the amazing Bethzienna. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well. I know this is weird. Like, we've never met each other. We don't know each other. We've never seen each other. But right now we're talking to each other and people are listening, which is great.
Yeah.
For you guys listening at home, if you want to share anything, if you've got any questions or whatever, please use the hashtag Sanj Surati Talks. So, Bethzienna, you are a star. I know that. I've seen you on TV. As a singer, you're just amazing. You look wicked. You've got like a really good persona. There are going to be some people on here that haven't heard about you. It'd be good if you could give a brief background about you, where you're from, and who you are as an artist.
Someone asked me the other day, how I would describe myself. Like, sort of what role would I give myself? And I had a while to think about it, actually. And the best I could come up with was just a storyteller, really. So I've always trained. I trained in acting. So I went to drama school. So I'm an actress, singer-songwriter. So just a performer. And I just love to use art really to be able to tell stories and create connection. I think that for me is my driving force, and hopefully you can see that when I'm performing, when I'm taking on a character, and I try not to wear different hats. I try to sort of make them all as one. So for instance, when I am singing, I'm also acting and performing and being physical, not just sort of standing there using my voice, so to speak, which is why I love artists like Kate Bush, for instance, because I think she is really theatrical, and her performances, to me, they just sort of, they tell stories, and they use all different art forms, really.
So you mentioned you went to drama school. Which drama school did you go to?
I studied at Mountview Academy, which is I think it's moved now. At the time, it was based in North London. So I trained there for 3 years.
Yeah,
and that was my first move to London, which was in 2009. Because I'm originally from Wales, and this is a seaside town kind of gal. So it was a major shock at first, but it was amazing. And then I lived in London for years, and I moved back. I moved to Cardiff about 3 years ago.
With regards to like your Welsh roots, did you start off in Cardiff initially?
Yes, born and bred, really, and I'm a Welsh speaker as well. So my education and everything was in Welsh language. So I started off doing a lot of things for S4C, which is a Welsh language channel over here.
Yeah.
So I was always competing in the Eisteddfod. And so really, I think being Welsh as well, I think the two main things are sort of sports and the arts, which I'm really lucky for. And I always joke, I say, I feel like going to a Welsh school, you start learning how to harmonise in primary school, because it's the first thing you do in the morning. You just harmonise all your songs before you start your lessons.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of choral work going on, and a lot of bands that are created. And I think music and drama and sport is just huge in Wales. So I was quite lucky from an early age of having quite a lot of support with that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Amazing. And just with regards to you being a Welsh speaker, bit of background on me. So I used to be in a band that used to tour all over the place, and we used to play Wales all the time. Um,
Oh,
yeah, and like one of the things I was just fascinated with was the fact that you guys can speak another language like fluidly, and there's like Welsh television channels and
yeah.
like so you can speak fluent Welsh.
Yes, yeah, and all the signs as well. Obviously, people were fascinated by it because as soon as you cross that bridge, it's quite surreal for some people.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they genuinely, with friends of mine that are English and they've come and they're like, I feel like I'm in another country. I'm like, well, you actually are, but
And
it's just so weird. I know.
it's such a beautiful part of the world as well, Wales. Like,
Yeah, I think it's just I just find it really cathartic. I just think it's really green. There's a lot of hills and valleys, and I just think it's really relaxing, and it's a complete different pace as well, compared to, for instance, big cities like London.
mm,
Um, even in a city like Cardiff, it's just a complete different pace. It's really slow, really quiet, and I always used to laugh because when I was living in London, obviously my family is still in Wales, so I'd come home quite a bit, and the thing where I used to think, okay, this is where I need to change my pace because you just have a different energy, different pace when you're in London. I used to come back and the escalators in
yeah.
London, you're just like racing through and everyone's barging past. And with if you come here, the escalator, you just have to stand there and everyone's just so chilled. It's like the person that's trying to rush through, everyone's just thinking, oh God, look at this person. This person needs to relax.
So you moving to London, then moving back, was that a choice because you wanted to, or was there a reason behind it, or like what?
Yeah, I think for me, I'd finished drama school and I was trying to, I was very lucky to get a brilliant agent, and I was in and out of auditions, and I got a few bits and pieces of acting work, but the thing is, I think juggling two careers where um you have to put a lot in before you get before you can get back, um with regards to finances, I think you have to juggle different jobs and be flexible. And I just found it really draining because I needed to be able to be free for the studio whenever it was available. I needed to be able to drop and go to an audition if I had an hour's notice. And then I was juggling, about at one time 4 different jobs. So I was getting up at 6 a.m., doing a job, finishing. Then I was doing some teaching, finishing that, then waitressing, then, all around everything else I was doing. And I just thought, I feel like I was running myself to the ground and I wasn't being able to present myself as best I felt I could. So I just thought, I think the best thing for me to do is to just move out of the city for a bit where things are a bit cheaper so that I can invest properly into my career.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the thing about London, although it is fantastic, it can be quite stifling from an artistic point of view.
Well, that's the thing. I thought, and it is amazing. It's a great energy there, and that's where it's all at. And I was battling with that decision for about 3 years before I finally moved. Because of that, I just thought, well, this is where everything is. But then I came to the realization of I'm not actually making the most of it because I'm trying to pay my rent and pay my bills, and I'm working all the time, jobs that I don't want to be doing.
Mm.
So I felt like then my artistry was massively affected. So I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to have to do it and move out of the city for a bit. And it was actually more has happened for me since I moved out of London, in London, than it was when I was actually there.
Yeah. Totally got you. And that's the beauty of this current like digital democracy that we're living in at the moment, is you can still engage with the communities that you want to engage with without having to live in that space,
Exactly. I think we're really lucky in that sense. Like you said, everything that's happening digitally, I think when we're in that sense, we're more connected than ever. And I think things are a lot easier to get into certain communities without having to physically be there 24/7. So, and also, traveling now is easier. And luckily for me, I have a lot of friendships, and I laid a lot of my foundations in London. So I felt like I now just dip in and out. So, and I felt really lucky then, because I was sort of in London for certain days of the week, and then I was able to be sort of near the beach then for the weekend, and it just helped with my outlook, mindset.
Amazing. So it's great that you've got like this really kind of positive vibe about you with the way you talk about,
Good.
The art form, which is really important, because I mean, obviously I've lived all my life in London, but like I've spent a lot of time out in LA as well, and I've met a lot of people who have just been beaten down by they've kind of gone somewhere with dreams, and slowly they've just kind of deteriorated as human beings because of that rat race stifling sort of circle that they've surrounded themselves.
Yeah, it can be quite suffocating, but don't get me wrong, I have my moments like that as well, which is why I think I do tend to gravitate more with regards to connecting with people and friendships. I do gravitate more towards people that are in this industry and have a similar history and goals, because I think that it can, for other people, it's hard to relate to, because it is, like you said, it's something that you've been wanting all your life, and something that you feel you're destined for, or something that you feel, well, that's my calling, or that's what I'm good at. But it's so hard. It's similar to other jobs. You know what the goal is, you know what you need to do to get there. But with this, unfortunately, it's unpredictable.
Yeah.
I think that's what can destroy someone, is that they're never feeling fulfilled, because they're not doing what they love doing. And also it's the same as it can be financially draining as well, especially if you're from a working class background and everything. I just think it's a lot different, and I think that is can be quite overwhelming as well. And also for me, with regards to the acting side of things, the amount of auditions that I've gone to and I've been rejected, and you people say, oh, how can you not take it personal? Because it is personal. So they say, oh, you're not tall enough, or we're looking for someone with brown eyes and you've got blue, so no. Or they look at your history or the work you've done, or maybe your regional accent and things like this. But and that can take its toll as well.
The amount of auditions I've done where you'll do like, I don't know, 10 in a day, and it's just rejection after rejection after rejection, and it can be. I mean, you have to have thick skin in this industry, definitely.
You do, but I think also that we're human, and I think we can have thick skin in. This is what I have experienced, anyways. I think that you can have thick skin in that area, and people are sort of in awe of it. They think, oh, how can you not be sensitive to that? You've just, in 1 week you've had 13 rejections, but then it can affect your self-esteem in other areres of life, I think.
Yeah,
because you're just human, and of course it does affect you, but you can probably channel it in a different area. But yeah, it's like even before lockdown, I think because also sometimes with these auditions it's a grueling process of 6 recalls, so you're still doing that. You can get down to this the final 3, and then rejection. It's hard. Then you get that one job, and it's totally worth it. And
absolutely. Well, that's what I live for. I love that moment when you walk into a room and within a split second you've got a connection with the casting team. Like it feels good, and they're really they're real driven by your energy, which is really refreshing. And as you say, that's why we do it.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we're going to talk about this later, but let's focus on you as an actor, as an actress, like your experiences as an actress. So, what have you done, television and film wise?
So I've done a bit of television. When I first had drama school, it was a really exciting time, actually. Well, when I really enjoyed the auditioning process then. So naive. So much fun. And I think the first job that I got, I got a few sort of Welsh language stuff. But the first BBC job that I had was for the Our Girl pilot.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was really cool, but it was fun as well, because it wasn't your stereotypical what I'd been told that I'd get because of my casting. It was so different. You know, we were the uniforms that we got to wear, the training that we got to have, the drills that we had to learn, and also just sort of living that life, really. We were actually, you know, in Purbright, we were on the barracks for weeks and just in our own little bubble with it all. And it was just fun. And I met some great women when I was doing that are still my friends now.
Awesome.
So that was my first experience, and it was so much fun, and especially because of 3 years of drama school, where you're just sheltered, really. It was really finally put it all to use. And then I've done I had a bit of a stint on Casualty, which was really fun as well. Skins, they did a sort of a rerun of I think they delved into the character stories.
Yeah.
So got involved in that. And then theatre wise, I recently, well, I say recently, it's a couple of years ago, I was one of the lead characters for the Assassination of Katie Hopkins.
Wow.
Provocative title.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I say recently because we've just done a rerun of that at the Turbine Theatre in Battersea.
Wow, that's awesome.
Just before lockdown, really. I mean, yeah, the end of January.
Talk to me about that play. What is it about? I mean, obviously,
it's odd. You know what? I feel really passionately about it. I think it's an amazing piece, and I'm really, well, fingers crossed that it's going to get its West End debut, because I really think it deserves a large London audience, and it just raises a lot of debate, and that's what I love about theatre, is that it can create a discussion that needs to be had.
Yeah.
So it's mostly focuses on, I know obviously what the title says, but it focuses on areas that I think are really current at the moment. So problems that we have online, like abuse, free speech, the justice system, racism, sexism, ageism. It just covers all different things, really. And I think every time we had an audience, an amazing debate was created afterwards. And
wow.
It's just a really, really clever piece. And the writer, Chris Bush, she's just incredible. And her writing is so clever. And she's amazing. She's amazingly talented. And it's a musical as well, which you wouldn't expect. So that's really fun. But it's the sort of music that makes you feel a little uncomfortable.
Wow.
It's not sort of razzle dazzle, you know, it really hits you hard. Like some of the lyrics are very hard hitting, but it's good. So fingers crossed.
How long has that been running for?
It ran for a few weeks up north in Theatre Clwyd, and then we did a workshop in London a year ago, maybe. Okay. Yeah, last summer, Jaywood's Bay, we did that, and then Turbine Theatre then. So I think, you know, they're hoping that it'll get a bigger life.
Brilliant. And you were singing in that?
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was me and another actress, Mamuna Memon, who were the lead actresses in that. So it follows our stories, really.
Amazing. We've touched on quite a lot of things in these first 20 minutes, which is amazing. I'm sure there's a lot of people listening who'd really want to hear about your experience on The Voice.
Yes.
So talk to us about that. So you were on The Voice, it was last year. It's kind of spring, summertime. Is that right?
Yes, it was. Well, I just finished another show, and I'd started researching into, I wanted to start to learn how to meditate, because I'm just very overanalytical. I'm always thinking, I'm always overthinking. And so I wanted to start doing that. So I was looking into this, into Deepak Chopra's meditations. And it's all about abundance and you know, manifestation and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'd started that week. And one of the things that I picked up on was I just thought, you know what, I'm not going to overthink my my decisions, and I'm just going to try and say yes to everything and see where it leads me.
Yep.
And the reason why I say that is because I do have a point with it, because with regards to reality TV, before then I'd had a very restrictive thought process on it. I was very restricted with how I thought, and I thought, oh, I just had a negative opinion on it.
Yeah.
Just because of people that I'd known have gone on certain shows and they didn't have a very good experience, or they said that they felt that they were trying to mold them into something that they weren't. So there was no sort of real authenticity. So, I was quite, just restricted with my thought process. So I started this new way of thinking. And that week I had a message from one of the producers from The Voice. And they said, "Oh, friend has sent us your details. We've been watching your stuff online." So I just was putting up videos and everything on my Facebook page, and so they said, "We're in Cardiff tomorrow. We'd really like to meet you." And so I thought, well, I've just said I'm going to say yes to everything. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, because I was so used to going to sort of musical theatre auditions, I'd prepared a score to take in. So I thought, I'll take this to the pianist, I'll mark it up. And obviously it's so different because it's a different world.
Yeah.
And I got there and I was really nervous about the whole thing. I thought, I don't know what to expect. I walked in, I said, "Oh, I'm prepared." I had my sheet music. They looked at me like I was the most bizarre thing ever. They were like, "What's that?" "Where's the pianist?" I said, No, you just have to sing. So I hadn't prepared anything, so I thought I'm gonna have to just sing one of my own.
Yeah.
So I sang one of my own songs, and I didn't hear anything for about a month, and I sort of then forgot about it. I thought it must mean I didn't get it. And then I got a call, and then they said, "We'd like to see you again." So there was about 4 rounds, I think, before the big round, which is going to be televised and in front of the coaches.
Yeah.
And I think for me that was a real big moment, because I was thinking to myself, right, if I don't get a turn, that for me is a sign that I should probably not pursue this side of things.
Yeah.
Which I know you probably shouldn't think like that, but I just had so many knockbacks with things, and I was thinking, how much longer can I keep pursuing this? So it was a real big moment for me. I just thought, I just need one turn, and it will just, even if I don't go further after that, at least then I've got that sign, and I know I just need to keep going. So yeah, and then obviously it happened, and I remember Nicole, who'd gone on and she'd managed to be able to sing a duet with Jennifer Hudson.
Yeah.
She'd gone on maybe two artists before me.
Yeah.
So I was in the wings and I could hear it. And then and Jennifer Hudson was one of her, biggest sort of icons. And she said, "Oh, imagine, that would be amazing." And it did happen. And I thought, oh my God, I can't believe she's singing with her. That is insane. And then I remember thinking, oh God, imagine if I got to sing with Tom. That'd be amazing. And so I stood on there, and I just remember thinking, I can't breathe. And it's really nerve-wracking because you're singing, so you're using your voice, but it's so dry and you can't swallow. And oh my God, and the classic, I just stood there thinking, I can't remember my first line. And I was just shaking because I was thinking, oh God, please just somebody turn, just give me a sign. Wow. And then I remember I sang the entire song, and I looked at the chairs and nobody had turned. I could still see the backs of chairs. I thought, oh good God, this is horrific. Nobody's turned. And I think I sang the last note, and I just thought, well, that's it then. And I looked, and Jennifer Hudson was just staring at me.
Wow.
Thought, oh my God. So that was incredible. And then to think that what led on from that was me and Tom Jones singing together.
Yeah.
Was just crazy. It was just unreal. It was probably one of the best moments of my life.
Wow. I mean, he's incredible. I saw him. I used to work for Music Week, and he invited a few people to South Bank to see him busking, and literally it was just him and an acoustic guitar, and he had no mic, but he just captivated everyone there. Like everyone was just watching him. It was beautiful. So that must have been amazing singing with him.
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, I know what you mean without a mic. I mean, his projection is just incredible. Just amazing. But yeah, and I think for me, being from Wales, and the areas that we're from and everything, and he's from South Wales. I think growing up, I really, really sort of looked up to him as inspiration, and also as to just help me believe that it is possible, because I think sometimes, and I did notice it when I moved to London, I think you do, if you're from, certain areas outside of London, like you tend to get mocked quite a bit. And especially being Welsh, I mean, there's so many jokes, isn't there? So I just sort of really, really looked up to him, and he really inspired me. And one of my lifelong dreams ever since I was a child was to one day sing with him. And I used to say to my mum, one day I'm going to sing with him. I'm going to sing with him. It's to practice all his songs as if I was singing a duet. So that moment for me was more than I think anyone would have ever realized.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible.
No, absolutely. And so what was he like as a mentor?
He was amazing. I just thought, never in a million years did I expect to have these moments where him and I were just having these normal conversations about, whether we wanted sugar in our coffee or something. I just thought, and he's such a laid back bloke. For me, he is just, he's just a typical Welshman. He's just really laid back, wicked sense of humour, just incredible. You would never think that he is a Sir Tom Jones,
Yeah.
Just really nice, and also very family orientated. Absolutely love his son, because his son Mark is his management team. His son and his daughter-in-law. Love them. Just great vibe, great circle, and just really lovely bloke.
Incredible. And are you still in touch with those guys?
Yeah, they're still very much, wanting to know what's going on, and wanting to offer help where they can, even if it's just a bit of advice. And Jennifer Hudson is amazing for that. Really, really supportive. I feel really lucky to have her in my corner. Really grateful for that. And I've got to say, all of them, will.i.am, Ollie Murs, really, really just great, like wanting to connect, wanting to help. You just can see why they're on a show like that. They actually do care, which is great.
How long was that kind of process, the whole voice from you auditioning to it kind of climaxing to the end of the show? Like, how long was that?
In total, it was a year.
Wow.
About a year. Yeah. So it was a long process, but it was so enjoyable. It was just so much fun.
Yeah.
It was just really, really fun. I had a great time, didn't stop laughing, like learned so much. And I also wanted to use everything that was available to me really whilst I was doing it, because they just had the best of the best, even from the production to the coaches and the creative team and the creative contacts that you make through that show is just incredible.
Yeah, because I saw some of the shows that you did towards the end that are on YouTube, and some of the production value on that was just incredible. Like there's that one where there's those group of guys who are lifting you up and you were like singing and being carried. Like it was awesome.
Oh, it's incredible. I was getting to work with people that have produced and put on shows for the Brits. I mean, it was it was great. And again, just so supportive. And I think they really enjoyed the fact that I was really theatrical, and I was sort of wanting to constantly step out of my comfort zone. So I think they really honed in on that, and we had a lot of fun.
So since your experience on The Voice, what's been going on? What was your kind of game plan, and how has that developed?
Yeah, so I finished around April last year, and I think for me the show really gave me a sense of my artistry and sort of what road I wanted to go down with genre branding and all that sort of stuff, and really finding out who I was as an artist, because I think before then I did struggle with the fact that I was a trained actress, and I studied movement, and then I was a singer, but I was also a songwriter, and I was struggling to amalgamate all of them and figure out how they can all fit together. And I think that show, I know it just definitely really helped that. And so I found out who I was. So what I wanted to do was just sort of start from scratch with regards to my material, and just get into the studio and write, which is what I was lucky enough to be able to do. So, and I was really lucky to work with just a plethora of amazing writers. And I spent most of the latter of last year just writing. So I'm really, really excited. I've got all of this material ready to go, and also just, making the most of the exposure from it, because I'm aware that it doesn't last long, so I was just taking every opportunity that was coming my way, and I was also going out and physically sort of knocking on doors, which has really helped everything. And I'm hoping now, once this sort of stage that we're all going through ends, it'll really pay off. So
so we'll touch on COVID-19 actually in a second, but I just wanted to kind of talk to you about the writing process at the moment. So you said you've written some songs. So have you written about an album's worth? Is that right?
Yeah, I have actually. That wasn't my aim. I just wanted to create as much material as I could.
Yeah.
And sort of go off the basis of just thinking of them all as singles.
Yeah.
Single releases. But yeah, I've got enough now for an album's worth, really.
Awesome. And you mentioned that you've been writing with people. So who have you been writing with?
So I've been writing with when I first finished, I just contacted a friend of mine who is a person that I write with, and he's amazing. I met him. I was lucky enough to get invited onto a songwriting retreat, Difford songwriting retreat in Glastonbury.
Wow.
And yeah, it was amazing. It's my first ever experience, and you can just be so indulgent in just being creative. So we were there for a week, and what happens is every day you work with a different writing team.
Wow.
So you only have a day to write and finish a song, and then in the evening you go over to the coach house and you perform it for everybody.
Wow, that's awesome.
It's amazing. So, and you're really lucky because you're amongst new sort of upcoming artists, and then you're getting to work with established writers, artists, producers, so really able to learn. So I met a few great writers and created really good relationships. So I started working with Gary Clark, who is amazing, and he's sort of doing a lot of stuff for Netflix and Amazon at the moment.
Right.
So I flew over to Dundee, and we finished and sort of reproduced a track that I'd done previously, but I wanted to give it a different edge. And then we'd written a new track, and then I wrote with who was after that? I've written with Mark Nevin, Beth Nielsen Chapman, Ben Adams from A1. He's amazing. Jelly Pool, Pam Shane, which was incredible because when I was younger, one of my favourite go-to songs was Genie in a Bottle, Christina Aguilera, and she's written that song.
Wow, okay.
So when I was working with her and Joe Kington and Danny Cage, I was like in the studio, and she said something. What did she say? She said, "Oh, that's one of the best vocals I've ever heard." And I was sat there like giving like little fist pumps, thinking, oh, "She's worked with Christina Aguilera." Yeah. So it was great. I've just been having a great time really, and just.
So let's touch on your voice. So Bethzienna, like your voice is incredible. Like what I've heard, what I've seen,
thanks.
it is like I mean, there's a lot of soul there. There's a lot of power. There's a lot of emotion. How did you get to that?
Well, I think I've always just been so passionate about music, mostly soul and Motown. But I started off in jazz, and I used to go to and sing with jazz bands every weekend. When I was about 14, I started doing that. But as I said before, then from the age of probably about 6, I started competing in the nationalised Difford, where it's all singing competitions. So I started off doing that, and I was really lucky to have really supportive teachers who I'm still in touch with now, and who actually helped me quite a bit when I was doing the voice as well.
Yeah.
And they were just very pushy. They were very encouraging. I mean, I was always saying, no, I'm not going to be doing that. But they sort of, pushed me into it really, and helped give me confidence with it. And I think from an early age, my voice I remember, even if I listened to recordings, it was very, very, very husky and very low.
Okay.
So I never used to want to sing because all of the other girls sounded very high and sweet and angelic. But I think it was, definitely the support system around me that helped give me the confidence with it. And then I just started pursuing that really, and pushing myself. And I think for me, I was doing the Eisteddfod. I must have been about 12. And there was someone in the audience that's a really well-known Welsh artist. And they were doing a show for the first time. I think sort of Pop Idol and Fame Academy were running really successfully. So they wanted to do a Welsh language version. And they did. And it was called Wawffactor. And they asked me to just be involved. So I went and auditioned, and then got to the next round, then the next round. And I reached the finals with that. And it was me, and runner-up was Duffy.
Wow.
Yeah, I was about 13. I think she was 19 at the time. So I think that was where it all started, to be honest. And I've just tried to pursue that ever since. And I think with regards to musicality and vocals, I've just had fun just playing around and trying to improve and learn different techniques. And for me, it's got to always be about emotion. You've got to always be singing in a way that, singing in a way where people know, oh, okay, she's telling a story and she really means that.
Yeah, so you're
Not
connecting with the audience.
A hook for the sake of it. Yeah, that wouldn't do anything for me. Which is why I insist on writing my own songs, because then I know what I'm singing about and I mean it.
Yeah, awesome. So so what do you do for warm-ups?
Oh God, I mean, it's funny because sometimes I have friends. I think a few months ago, I was doing a gig out in Berlin, and my sister-in-law, I asked her to drive me to the airport. So I was having to do the warm-ups in the car, and she could not breathe. She was laughing so much. And I think for someone who doesn't know about that, it just looks ridiculous. You're doing all your trills or your lip trills, the facial expressions you're doing. But for me, the one that really helps is I make sure I use a nebulizer all the time.
Okay.
Which just steams your vocal cords and just keeps it extremely hydrated, because I'm aware I've got quite a husky voice. And straw work, I just work a lot with the straw. So you're singing and you're doing your scales and everything, but with a straw.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
straw
and that really helps. That's that's the best one for me, really. But when I was doing the show, when I was doing the voice, when I did a song called River, and it was really, really high and also quite demanding with regards to the stamina. So what I did was I went on a treadmill and I sang on a treadmill every day.
Wow.
To try and then when I was faced with nerves and having to do the routine and sit and basically belt the song, it wouldn't be so tiring.
Yeah.
And it really, really helped. And I think, honestly, that's what helped with the next one, where I was sort of singing upside down and being carried. was being able to really, really engage your core, because it's so tiring. It's like when they finally put me on my feet, I was thinking, oh my God, I feel like I've just run a marathon. But yeah, that helped. But it's a weird one, but it definitely helped.
No, totally. I mean, like my experience being in a band, like, you know, we were in a metal band, you know, so we were like screaming like up and down the M1 basically.
That's the thing, is I think the thing with bands, you know, is all about, I think people expect you to just have this persona, you know, drinking whilst you're singing and all sorts of stuff, but it's not good for your vocals. It's like,
No.
how did you used to warm up? How did you used to sort of maintain?
So exactly stuff you're talking about. So loads of cardio. So I would, you know, we would stay somewhere after a show, and then I would wake up early and just go for a run. And if there was a swimming pool nearby, I would go for a swim. Especially like around Europe, you just find like a river and just start swimming in the river.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Which sounds a bit weird, but like just getting your lungs going so that they're prepared for that strenuous, you know.
Yeah, it's important.
So that's great. I mean, you're the first singer I've spoken to that's spoken about that singing on a treadmill concept and like working with your core and stuff, which is brilliant. Just from speaking to you, I can tell that you're very disciplined about your craft, your art form. You're very driven. And when you write music, you've got a really good team around you, and you just focus on it and get it done, which is fantastic to hear, because there's a lot of singers that I've met who struggle with that. How are you coping with the current COVID-19 situation at the moment? Like, how are you still being creative? How are you using the time at the moment to be as
productive?
Yes, as productive as possible.
Yeah. I think that for me, I'm just trying to embrace the sort of, I tell you what I'm enjoying is the stillness, because last year especially was very, very chaotic, in the sense that sort of wherever I lay my hat is my home type of thing. I just sort of lived out the suitcase. And for me, I realized that routine is really, really important. And that's quite hard to keep in place when you're all over the place and that your next move is quite unpredictable. So it's nice at the moment to just be still. So I'm trying to take advantage of it. And I did have, especially the beginning of the year, I don't know whether it was, you know, January blues or if it was sort of the end of last year. I did have a couple of weeks where I wasn't necessarily feeling as motivated. I wasn't feeling as upbeat.
Yeah.
So, and of course, I do have those moments. And I just thought, now I just need to sort of hone in on just refocusing, re-energizing, because I think that's really important, because of course you can drain yourself sometimes, because I think as a performer you're constantly giving out your energy all the time, and I think sometimes you do have to take a step back. So I'm trying to embrace it, and I'm learning the piano. So I bought a piano in January, so I'm learning the piano. I'm just trying to pick up the guitar again, learning some new things. Writing some top lines. I'm going to the beach every day.
Wow.
And making the most of that, because I was in London so much. I was in between London and Manchester all of last year. So I just kind of make the most of being near the sea. Meditating, yoga, working out, writing, contacting people, making sort of lists and getting ready for my next move, because I think the next move is to release a single independently, and I know that's going to be a huge thing. So I'm just getting everything in place, getting everything ready, and also just not feeling bad about chilling out.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can beat myself up, because I always have this mindset of you're not going to get anywhere if you just sat down doing nothing. But I think it's important to be able to relax and maybe, you know, binge watch some TV. And so I'm actually just watching things and being able to watch TV series that I've never been able to do.
What are you watching at the moment?
Okay, so I watched Unorthodox, which I thought was amazing.
Beautiful.
I mean, very, very heavy. I definitely had to go for a walk afterwards, because I watched the whole thing. But I mean, just fascinating and really, really interesting, and also makes you feel really lucky. that you're not tied into any community. You're sort of free to be who you want to be.
Absolutely.
And we can really take that for granted. So I learned a lot watching that. What else did I watch? I watched Green Book as well, which is incredible. And
love that film.
Yeah, obviously it's about Italian American guy and this African American guy and their relationship and how their judgment on one another and one another's culture completely changes and the friendship they create. And it's great. And obviously it's based on a true story, which I love. And then I loved it so much. And then afterwards, you know, they tell you about what happened to them afterwards. And I think the Italian guy worked at Copacabana.
Yes.
A picture came up of him and Tom Jones.
Ah.
So I was just like, in my own little words, thinking, oh, I'm connected to them.
Yeah. I mean, that film is beautiful. I mean, the soundtrack's incredible. It's like well filmed.
Stunning.
The performances, obviously, I kind of connected to it a lot because he was a black guy that was performing to predominantly white crowds.
White audiences, yeah. And
when,
he was going against the stereotype, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Boundaries.
And when so the band I was in, because we were very political, we were a punk band. We played the underground punk scene, and there was not always, but there was a kind of sometimes quite
proud.
Yeah, like a little bit of an oppressive Aryan notion about the punk scene. So sometimes I would feel a bit worried, and you could sense that in his fear, because he was kind of quite proud and strong-minded and kind of elegant in his gracefulness, but then he was also quite timid and scared and, you know, worried. It was a wonderful film.
Yeah, it's amazing. I watched that. What else? I watched something else that was really moving. I can't remember, about CJ Walker, the first self-made female millionaire. Well, first self-made African female millionaire. It's about a product that she creates, sort of hair straightening product. And also, again, it's just that was just really touching. That was amazing, and it was all based on true story. But what I loved about it is the honesty behind the fact that, because I think sometimes, you know, to be really successful, you do have to be selfish and you do have to be a bit ruthless. And I do struggle with that. But it was interesting to watch because originally she did steal the formula. It was a stolen formula. It wasn't created from herself, but because she had this belief in herself, she just made it into something bigger than it could ever have been. So it was really interesting. And then I'm watching The Morning Show.
Yeah, I've heard good things about that.
Yeah, obviously it's about the #MeToo movement. Again, touches on subjects like ageism and stuff like that. And I think it's quite cool to see the stories of two female anchors. I think that's
There's lots of really strong shows that have
they're really
leads in them at the moment, which is brilliant.
It is really refreshing. It's really nice, because especially when I first left drama school, the kind of roles that were out there were just, I just thought, really? Whereas now I think that is because there are more women that are writers, producers. So there's more of a chance now for a female story to be told.
Yes.
And the show that I did, it's so great to have two female protagonists that are leads. And I just think, wow, it is. It's really refreshing.
Bethzienna, we are coming to the end of the show. First, I just want to say thanks for your time. This has been brilliant. Like, I'm sure people listening to this.
I really loved it. Thank you.
Awesome. If anyone wants to get in contact with you, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
So I think I'm on everything. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook page. And my handle is the same, at Bethzienna, on all of those platforms. They can sort of direct message me on Instagram or direct message me on my Facebook page. Probably the two that are best to be able to contact me on.
Awesome. And when's your new stuff coming out? Sorry.
Well, we haven't set a date yet, because I mean, it was supposed to be around now, but then obviously lockdown and everything, COVID-19 has taken over. And I just I don't feel it's right at the moment to have a release. I just want to wait. So I don't have a date yet, I'm afraid. Okay,
but get sort of tagged up on your social media and you'll kind of announce that at the right time.
definitely.
Awesome. All right. Well, look, you've been awesome. Those of you that are listening, guys, thank you so much for your time as well. Again, if you want to share anything, please share the hashtag Sanj Surati Talks. Bethzienna, you've been amazing. Again, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Hopefully we can meet in the flesh when lockdown's dropped.
Yay!
Cool.
Contact. Woo!
All right. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you.